You don't, oh, so you're testing.
Yeah, I don't have,
I just said, I mean,
okay, you're
I
texting.
said, hi, Kimberly, it's Lauren from HDRB. We really need you here so we have a quorum tonight. We can take a vote for 37 Main Street. Please come.
Yeah.
I don't know if she will check her messages.
Well, to send it to her, high importance.
I don't know.
I think that's only
Yeah.
yeah. Hello, new background.
Was it raining today?
No, doesn't happen here.
We don't want to see.
There's about 4 feet of snow in the drifts, right?
Oh, and the drift. I stepped out one of my car was. I stepped in a drift coming here, and I am still having some snow melt happening in my sock presently from said snow drift.
Oh, man.
It's
Pumping gas yesterday morning and my nose hairs were completely frozen.
Froze?
I mean, it
You
was,
were like,
yeah, it was just,
instant.
it had to be like 1 degree outside. Like it was really bad.
All right, I'm gonna try to just call her. Oh, Kate gave me a different number. Wonder which one's the number.
screens you call.
The Google thing where like say your name first. I was like, oh, I'm just doing voice recognition on this. It's not happening.
It made me feel more comfortable when I learned from a friend who has one of those phones that it's only if that phone number that you're going from isn't in their contacts.
I still don't like it.
I still don't like it, but maybe like, oh, okay, now I get it a little bit.
Okay.
Kim's last name. Sevilla.
What we have, thank you, Abby.
Apparently it's where the mailbox. And I was like,
I honestly,
I had no idea there was a mailbox.
I barely checked them.
I just didn't know there was a mailbox. It's anyway, this is cool.
Very fancy.
I mean, it's good because now we're not like,
Yeah.
phone the whole
Yeah.
time, you know.
You can put in little sticky tabs where you're like, oh, I know this one where
You
highlight.
Mine.
There's some things I like plan my year out every year, and there's some things like I just have to do a paper version of it. I like the tactileness of highlighting and being like, okay, I'm traveling on these days, this is happening, and like.
Oh. She said she'll be right here. She's coming.
Hopefully, it yields a successful pathway so that it's worth her stepping away.
I think it's fine.
Hopefully.
I think let's find her stepping away. Find her here. Okay. We look down?
I looked at it and basically, I guess what we need to do is pick from 3 options.
There's sort of a couple things. I do have a small update. The door, we found a way to improve the door metal spacing relative to glass or glazing ratio. So I have slightly new measurements than what is like in there. That just improves the glass getting a little bit bigger and the metal getting smaller. So I have those. I've sort of marked up one and can walk through that. It's not a lot. It's 1.5 inches on each piece of metal, but in total across, however many pieces of metal, it like sort of adds up and moves more towards the effect.
You're talking about the glass door to the bakery.
So that's the only other thing that's like new info that's not there, but otherwise, yes, there's sort of a 2 door options and 2 porch option. I can give some commentary on the porch option and door option. You know, if I can wait till Kim is here, or I can just start sharing.
Wait
We should wait for
Okay,
Kim,
that's fine.
right? And, Kate and Todd, you see the drawings online, right?
I see two
Oh, we don't
options.
hear Todd.
That
You're
correct?
muted.
He's not muted.
I'm
Uh,
Kate's muted. Do you hear me?
Now we do, yeah.
I see
can see
two
them.
I see two options. Is that correct? Just two.
Option one here and option two, right?
Yeah.
With the slight modification for,
So we did 2 different porch style and 2 door option. And so the intersection of 2 and 2 creates a possible 4 combination. Or you could say I like porch option A and door option B.
I'm missing what's different between the porches on these pages.
The only difference is the one of them shows us is steps between the 2 levels versus the other is a very shallow
Ramp.
thank you.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I will now call the meeting to order since we do in fact have a quorum.
I'm sorry, guys, give me 1 second, let me try and adjust the sound. On this, can you say something really quick, Todd?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
No.
A little bit louder.
Talking. I'm talking. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you really well,
you.
just for context.
Kate's like, can you stop talking,
Bring my
please?
Todd,
hearing
no
aid,
shouting.
Uh,
Have to speak loudly.
yes, I'm speaking loudly without shouting. Does that work?
I think it's the other. I'm sure Teddy Roosevelt wouldn't mind if you got
I get you with his big stick.
Yeah.
Bossy, softly.
Okay. So we're here, not to read the guidelines, but, we're here for 37 Main Street, 55 is another story. And, basically, Brian, why don't you tell us the options that we're looking at?
Sure. And it's okay if I step up and
Yes, please, come up.
thank you. Thank you for making time tonight. Again, I really appreciate it. The options on the drawings, there are 2 porch options. One is a very shallow incline without a step. The other is a flat plane on the left side or the east side with a step up. So those are 2 options on sort of the porch. And then the 2 options on the door are double doors, and then 1 larger pivot door. If I'm summarizing, there's a couple other nuances and stuff. I will point out that the door designer was able to confirm that he could do slightly smaller metal pieces than he got all these details to us in the spec sheets and everything. And then he was able to confirm he could do slightly smaller. So the doors as drawn show 3.5 inch metal pieces, and he can get them down to 2 inch, which improves the ratios. It improves them up to, so the side lights get wider and a little bit taller in both cases. And the ratio of glass and glazing to the metal gets better than what is shown. So we will do that in both cases. In either case, we will go with the thinner option. So a little commentary that I may give while Al, you sort of suggested the ramp concept. The odd thing that we dug into in the code is that as soon as there is a ramp, even if it is extremely shallow, technically it needs a railing.
Yeah, well, the only thing is that unless it's at a certain gradient, it can be not considered a ramp. Because, for
Okay.
example,
Mhm.
the sidewalks,
Mhm.
if what you're saying is true, then,
Every
you have a lot of
sidewalk, if you
sidewalks
build
and have guardrails,
Yeah.
and that's not the
But
case.
maybe it's this angle.
The, I can check into that because I did. The answer I got back from the architect was that if it's a ramp, it requires railing. But I'm happy to double check the code myself and try to confirm if maybe there's the ratio is shown on that version. It is a half-inch over 12 inches. So a half-inch rise over a foot run per foot run. So I mean, look, I think there are a lot of things in the village that are at that slope that do not have a ramp. And so if the vote wants to be contingent on confirming that, because I know that having a railing in that section is something that we don't want to do. So I'm totally in support of that. I like the ramp better than the step, but I'm happy to only do it if it can be without a railing.
Okay, and
I don't think it's visibly noticeable.
the thing to keep in mind is the fact that if there's a step there, then you've lost the handicap accessibility.
We did, so for the handicap accessibility, what we planned for in the steps here is a fixture piece that can be set there that sets on top of the steps that allows for the handicap ramp.
Well, the thing that you have to keep in mind is that it's handicap ramp can't be greater than a 1 on 12.
Right.
So
So it sticks out a bit.
right. So how high is that step?
It is 2 steps at, I think it was a 10-inch, so it's probably 2 steps at 5 inches
Okay, so 10 inches. So you're talking about a 10-foot long
ramp.
that goes on top of this.
Yeah. So as long as the railing doesn't have to be put in per code, if we can go with the ramp version, I'm in full support there versus the steps option.
Okay, because the other thing is that's with the stone landing staying in place.
The flagstone. Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, all the drawings sort of have that. I mean, it's not the most artful version of a stone, but it's canon.
Okay. Because I'm willing to half-inch per foot. See, now that contradicts what you're telling me because oh, wait a minute. No, I take it back. I take it back because
I think a half inch per foot would be 1 to 24, which then might not require the railing, if that's helpful.
Can you just speak up
Oh,
maybe a little bit?
sorry, I forgot that. Yeah, is that better?
Yep.
I think a half inch is 1 to 24, so that would be less steep than the 1 to 20 that Al was referencing, where you no longer need a railing. I do think for people, with strollers, ADA aside, even people who do want an ADA ramp, that not having to place something temporarily is definitely preferable. I've heard a lot in the village about complaints about putting something temporary down by villagers.
and do we know how long this from here to here? What's that distance?
Let me see if I can get that for you. I think it's 20 something feet, but give me a second to try to get there. It's
We should be able to figure it out.
It's approximately 24. I don't have a measurement of exactly that. I mean, we could pull out, it's to scale. I did not bring a scale.
Well, if this is 24 and we're talking about a 10-inch rise, then you're talking about the sort of the movable ramp.
It comes across this. Yeah, it
Yeah.
comes out here.
I mean, we can write in the C of A that we prefer one version, and if that version is not possible because a railing would have to be added, we can say that.
Yeah, I mean, the option 2 with the step bothers me because we're going to a lot of extremes just to provide handicapped accessibility. And, to me, the whole business about a ramp in between. The other thing, I guess, is there any reason why this, which represents, this line, right? This fascia of
Mhm.
that, why is it not like that?
I think I'm more than happy to make sure it's constructed that way and get the drawings updated. I think that Gracie just didn't do that. Like,
Right.
it just didn't get drafted that way. But I think that does make sense. On the ramp version, that makes sense. On the step version, I think it makes sense that it's sitting
Right.
the notch below.
Okay, well, let's sort of cover each one separately. All right, what are everybody's thoughts concerning the ramp version versus the step version? Laura.
I think the ramp version is preferable. Because you're gonna have to add a lot of furniture or, like the.
Fixture kind of,
big
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But if you find out even during the course of building
Mhm.
that you need a railing, then it's a no.
Yeah. I like, you sort of said it a minute ago, the like ramp, if no railing, if railing required, step with, that sounds very workable.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that sentiment. Yep.
Yeah, fine.
All right, so we're talking, Kate, do you have any thoughts on it?
I agree.
Okay, so we're all pretty much in agreement that we would prefer the ramp. Now, if I know for a fact that the gradient, once you're below a certain level gradient, you don't need a handrail, and that has to do with like a 20% gradient. 20, what's the 20%?
For and this is 1/24, so this is
1/20.
this is less than a 20% gradient. If I'm doing my head math right. This is like a 16 or 17% gradient.
All right, but I guess let's talk about the location of the landing, because obviously that represents a certain amount of depth which can be reduced. I know, Todd, you were looking at absolutely not touching the stone landing. Am I correct?
Like flagstone.
Yeah, I just felt like it would look look funny and be not as practical to have the door the threshold for the door on the exterior be completely in line with that interior floor height. I mean, if it was moved up a little bit and there was still some kind of difference there just for visual context, I think that would be okay personally. I mean, listen, if I'm the minority here, but I just feel like, especially historically speaking, you would not have a front door like that or the main door to a building with a threshold stone on the exterior in line with that. There would be a step up. So I feel like it's good to keep that.
Right. Well, the thing is that I think that I agree with you that we could raise the stone a little bit and still keep the configuration where, you know, you do have a step up into the building. And again, you know, what you're going to have to do is
Yeah.
have work out exactly at what point it's not considered a ramp, but sloped surface.
Mhm.
Okay.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me.
But can we talk about this again though? Because I was a little confused by the drawing that you were making. You're saying that this element should not be, they should also be sloped? What do you?
Yeah, in other words, that's the band that the ramp framing frames into.
Mhm.
So if the ramp is sloped, then wouldn't that framing also be sloped? In
So
other
because
words,
you can't have like a lip or you can't have it straightforward across. Sort of containing.
Well, I think
Like have the fascia be
the face. I think
Can
what
the
I am.
fascia be straight like all across, or does the fascia have to follow the slope of the rail?
well, and I think that the fascia of that ramp would have to align with the framing of the ramp, right? Because we're talking about a
I don't think you should have a lip sticking up. I don't know what part of the code is, but like something sticking up on the edge of a platform that you step up and off of, I can't imagine that allows for there to be an upward lip. I'm more than happy to have the fascia board be either a very shallow triangle, so it looks mostly like a board, but so I guess makes it a trapezoid. Very shallow kind of triangle with that, or have it just be angled to match the ramp so that it is a rectangle fascia board, but it is angled with the ramp and follows that. And the end will have to be mitered slightly to marry into the upper platform.
right, because the other thing that you have to keep in mind is the fact that you've got all of that brick
Below the fascia.
below the.
So I'm fine with either of those details.
Do you guys have an opinion about that?
I can put it up on the screen if that helps.
It may.
No, yeah, I actually have it open.
The person.
I think
you know,
that
but-
if I just give my own commentary, the width is so wide that I don't know that you'll really notice that one end, I guess you will notice that one end is taller by 6 inches or something than the other.
I think my gut is that the fascia should be level across the bottom and angle with the ramp.
So
at the
a
top?
sort of a trapezoid.
I think so. Lauren, what do you, what do you,
These
Kate,
geometry
what do you, Kimberly?
It's probably going to be imperceivable, really, like unless you're looking at, that's probably the move.
I
Because
think
that's-
you will, your eye will be it will be easier for your eye to be tricked if the bottom edge of that is straight and level along with that course of brick, and you're not perceiving an angle all the way across the front of the bricks, because visually that's what you're going to see it against is the brick. So yeah, I feel like having the bottom in line with the bricks
brick.
makes sense.
I agree with that. Keep the bricks level, square, and then the ramp is the fascia board is angled.
I guess here is my only question. Realistically, the brick, if this is maintained, the bottom edge is maintained, do the joists that frame out the ramp, are they tapered? In other words, do they get smaller as you get towards the end over here?
I mean, for code, they can't, they have to be at a, but what I can do is make the fascia board different than the frame.
Okay,
In a-
I
in
mean,
fact,
my
like
feeling
facial.
is that I'd rather see it true to the framing rather than some arbitrary, brick lining up with the brick coursing.
Well, I think aren't we saying that the bottom horizontal edge would be level in line with the brick, and the top horizontal edge would have a very slight angle, so you would still be hiding all the joists and decking material, right? Isn't that what we're saying?
The question really is that does the fascia board represent the thickness of the joists that frame the ramp?
I
Yes.
mean, normally, yes, but here the fascia board would just get taller at the river side, the west side of it, because it would be kind of disguising the fact that there is a subtle lift there. So
Okay. Um,
I think if I hear what you're saying, Al, I think you're speaking to, it becomes that, so if we go with the trapezoid shape, it means that it is then like, it's not how it would have been. It's not, doesn't have some of the authenticity. It is a facade. The fascia board is a facade sitting on top of the framing,
right.
which is a fake covering of
The
frame.
fascia board here dips down below the frame,
It would
framing
then,
of
in that theory, it would do that.
all right. I
Versus
guess my
marrying equal with that and then tapering.
right. I guess my question would be, how big of a board are we talking about? In other words, the framing for the ramp
Mhm.
would probably be 2 by what?
Which of the boards?
Yeah, you're going to have
frame.
framing, right?
2x8.
2 by 8. Okay, and then I would assume that there needs to be a horizontal ledger which sits on top of the brick.
Mhm.
So that's another 1.5 inches. 2 by 8 is 7.5, plus another 1.5 inches is nine inches. And so the question becomes, how big is this down here?
Over that. Well, it becomes like 14 or 15.
Right. And I don't see any particular reason for it, because I can just as easily see the logic of this going
Tilting
up
imperceptibly, so it
and
marries
meeting
the board exactly.
that fascia board.
So Todd and Kate, I think what I'm hearing and what it does sort of resonate with me is that where the ramp section and the flat platform section meet, the fascia board on the flat section, the right-hand side or west side, will be its dimension. Let's call it 8 inches for just a rounder number. And that if we have kept the bottom of the ramp the same, it'll be like a 14-inch piece of trim marrying into an 8-inch piece of trim versus 8 marrying into 8.
And on top of that, you're going to have to get this 14-inch board and do a taper cut at the top.
yeah, not the easiest thing to accomplish.
Yeah. The detail that to me, and this, I'm just a voice here, you're the professionals. It's where the two meet that is making it make real resonate for me, Al. Because it feels weird to have a 14 or inch piece meet an 8-inch piece,
Right.
just and marry into each other.
I don't feel that strongly personally. I mean, if there's a way to do that seamlessly, I think I would prefer it. But if it's going to be two boards with a horizontal joint down a 12 lineal feet, and it's going to be a point of failure in water and whatever. I
Will be that. That's the other downside to it. I'm willing to do that, but that is part of what happened.
I don't feel that strongly.
Do you feel that strongly about it?
Don't I sort of feel like it's like another one of those sort of clunky details that characterize this building in a way, so I think that's okay.
Okay.
That's not 15.
Right? In red? Okay. All right, so. Does anybody have any problem with the fact that you have that brick as the base?
The brick, no. I think the brick is nice.
I think that works well, and we have brick piers and
Line them up with the
lattice in between. I got a question now. The access to that Bilco door is this, right? Is there any reason why, or does it make sense to sort of skip the brick where the door is?
It's a good question. So the depth, where's the best? This is probably the best, but the depth of the Bilco door relative to the decking, it can sit inside the frame of the deck, so you don't see it on the face, the brick face piece of the facing the street. So it is flush on the deck, and without it extruding to the outer edge of the fascia board and the brick.
Okay, and what is it that you anticipate bringing down into?
Lots of sacks of flour.
Okay.
Not said facetiously. That was one of the big important parts for the Angie's team, Ken and Angie, was not needing to bring in all of their supplies in through the main area, but bring them into the basement.
Okay, well, I guess the question becomes whether or not, if you omit or create a gap where that, where this, the door is, it seems like it'd make it a little bit easier to get into the Bilco door. But you're talking about steps going down anyway. So I don't know if it makes a difference
I would personally prefer to have this
all the way across. All right.
I think that's the way it was shown in the original drawing.
That's what I've assumed as a prefer.
Okay. So do we have any other comments or questions concerning the porch? Any comments on the guardrail?
We're just doing simple square posts and square spindles.
And what about other new taps?
Yes.
There, it looks like there's a finish.
They're just,
And it's all wood.
it's all wood. But it sticks above the railing, which I guess isn't a cap piece, is what you're asking, like
Yeah.
a hat. There's no hat.
And are the rails on the outside?
I believe they're between. Was the
It
detail.
looks like there, I don't see a detail,
There's not like a blown in detail.
maybe, somewhere.
I think this is just 6 top.
More of the same.
Cause it looks like they're drawn on the outside of the post. I mean, that's not typical construction, so I assume they're not on the outside of the post, or they should not be on the outside of the post.
No, they're
They
not.
should be between.
Yeah, they're between.
Okay, I guess what we would like to see is a detail for that guardrail. Okay,
Is there a preference? Like we want hats? Gaps.
I think that's typical for this era. Look at, I'm gonna use this for you.
Look at that. Whoa.
Hang on.
Reference material
I
at
know.
ready.
Find it. Um. Never looked at it before.
There is one entire section of
So-
rails.
You're like, you know, it's page 62.
Or I just click. Like. But yeah, it's sort of some, well, this is a fact, but typically there's some sort of cap detail on top.
Well, I don't think that's that critical, at least to me, because it could be just a post and with a pyramid top.
I mean, he's showing a square top. Right
Okay.
now, it's
Mhm.
not a pyramid, so I think that's an important.
Well,
detail.
yeah, that it needs the key is that the fence railing is runs between the posts.
Yep.
So it's the same on both sides, and then what happens on top of the post, I don't especially care all that much. I think as long as it's reasonable.
And I think it's, you could look around.
I was gonna say,
very quickly.
what I might orient towards, I think it's just flat top, but the building across Lund Terrace, it feels like matching that some feels like I mean, I'm all for the eclecticness as well. So I'm happy to do a different version, but may look to that for not standard, but for the standard here.
Do they have a vertical railing? I can't picture the building. They have a vertical railing like this.
Their posts they have a roof over it, so their posts go, oh, that's what the difference is.
Yeah.
Their posts go all the way up. I was trying to picture my brain.
Well, I mean, you can take a look at a lot of.
Yeah, like
Okay.
look at stairs that
Yeah.
come down and
Yeah.
like whatever's
Yeah.
happening at those stairs.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are good.
Okay, so now let's talk about the doors.
Can I ask one clarifying question that actually goes back to our fall session? So the drawings that we finalized in the fall for these windows, I've rewatched the Zoom like 12 times and try to look closely. On the drawing that got marked up, one got drawn up as a 4/2 and the other one got drawn up as I've shown them here. So I'm happy to do whichever one, but in the video you can't, it is confusing which one was the thing that was finalized, and in the drawing, one of each is drawn in.
Well, what's on the building?
Just simple sash, no lights, no dividing.
I think the 2/2 probably looks that you
I
have
thought
drawn
that's-
looks better.
I
Yeah.
had it drawn the other way, and this 2/2, the dimensions line up closer to the windows above, and like sort of like it just feels the right way to me. But
Yeah.
I'm open, and I want to do what we did agree to then. But then when I went to go try to confirm which one it was,
I think we did say two.
Yeah, I think 202 looks appropriate. It looks like the portion of the window that is glass is the same as it is up here.
it's pretty close in rate in size. That's right. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's just sort of on that part of the building. I wanted to clarify that.
Okay, so now let's talk about the door.
Is that what you guys remember with the windows?
Yeah, I think we were
Yeah.
talking about 4/2 and
No,
I
I
thought it
wasn't
was
here
too
for that.
crowded.
I know we talked about a few different things. I just sketched it quickly, Lauren. If you look at that,
Well-
what I just sent you, and I think that the 2/2 looks way better than the 4/4.
Mhm.
Right now, it's a 4/4. Like a 2.
It's 1/1.
Oh, these are just open, okay.
Okay, thoughts concerning the door?
Okay.
Oh, that's the difference? Okay, yeah, then the 2/2 is definitely the way.
Yeah, cool.
Todd?
Thoughts on the door. I don't know off the top. Do you have a spec sheet? Do you have
I
on
do,
the
I provided the spec sheet before. We have worked with the manufacturer and I shared this, I think you were on, Todd, but I don't remember if you were, but they have been able to confirm they can bring we translated the specs onto the plans. So I can pull up the like actual spec sheet. We looked at it last time.
Hmm.
He has been able to confirm he can go down to just 2 inches. So in all the
Right.
places it says 3.5 inches, can all go down to 2, which it increases the amount of glass by 50.
You're trying to use the 3.
So those are 3.5 as shown, and they can go down to 2, so they get a lot skinnier. Correct. Yep, that's right.
and what is the material? They're steel?
It is not steel, so it is not supposed to be steel door. Okay. Nope, it is not steel. It is aluminum.
Aluminum.
Yeah. I didn't catch that on.
All right, the first question is, double door or single door?
I will share the proprietor prefers the double door. Not me, the
And what would on the single door, what does the hardware look like?
I do have, I'll pull that up. It's a vertical handle. Like if I just answer the
Like
question
this one?
quickly. Yeah,
So it
It's-
cuts
it-
into the glass.
it does. Yeah,
So it would be like opening here
yeah, correct.
and then cutting it.
No, but actually it's on the other side.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish we had both of them in the full elevation drawing. I know they're not, and we can't do anything about that now, but to see it kind of actually on the building the way that that first sheet shows would be helpful. Um,
Well, I think the thing that you have to keep in mind is that, if you go to one door, then, essentially what you have are two large side lights. If you go
yes.
two doors, then the side lights reduce in width, and but you gain the advantage of the fact that, you've got two doors that can operate. Both of them provide glass, so therefore light into the space.
It's sort of net effect, the same amount of light, the same amount of glass in both options, just sort of the rate where they're placed, if that makes sense. But I guess, yeah. And the detail drawn on door option 5 or option 2, sorry, has the side lights come below the kick plate.
Yeah.
That can also be done on the double door. So that can be done in either place. Either you can keep the glass at kick plate height or lower.
Kate, any thoughts?
Um, go ahead, Todd.
I'm kind of struggling with both options, to be totally honest and blunt. I don't love them. I think there's something kind of funny and off looking about option one. That is, you see that kind of configuration out there in the world, but it's so modern and just kind of blah modern storefront that I think executed in aluminum. You know, there is something about executing these options in steel that would it's just fundamentally a different look than aluminum, like through and through. And I completely understand that the price point is going to be very different as well. And so therein lies the challenge. But executing something very sort of streamlined and contemporary like this in steel can lend a very authentic, quasi kind of historic, depending on your period, feel to it in an industrial kind of way. Whereas executing something like this in aluminum to me feels about as mall entryway as you can get. Um, and so I just am, I don't know, I'm having trouble with this when compared to, the rest of this building, which is quite simple and austere, but just, wood elements everywhere. Everything is wood. Um, yeah, I'll, Kate, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this facade, the barn doors need to really shine, and then this opening has to be as minimal as possible. I think steel would help with that. I also think having less elements would help. Um, I don't know, same issues, right? But if you had double doors, no side lights at 3, 6 each, it's a very wide door, but
Yeah.
it's much more refined. Maybe one of those is fixed. It's just a fixed glass panel at 3, 6, and the other's a 3, 6 door. I think that the symmetry is important, and I'm inclined to the double doors over the single because of the way the opening sort of existed previously. And if these existing doors slide back over the new doors, there's sort of a relationship between the two. So it's less of a like stage set.
I guess my other commentary, which is going to really just be a completely different direction here, is, and I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me. I would prefer that the existing doors be removed and remade from scratch in the same exact style with something that is more usable out of wood. And keep the existing style and keep the look, get rid of all this rolling stuff and the fact that you're covering up. Like I would prefer something like that. I
That
think,
sounds so radical, but given all the like jumps and
yeah,
whatever, all the things that you'd have to do to make it work as we're discussing it now, it's getting really fussy. So I wonder if actually this radical idea is actually a nice solution that will be more budget friendly and, um, yeah, have operable existing historic doors.
it kind of simplifies that entire side of the building, which to me looks like really busy when the existing panels are kind of hinged and slid over, which is going to be the majority of daylight hours. Like it just looks really busy to me. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it looks like a stage set when you have the doors on a track and we're probably mostly they'll always be open.
So we,
I would disagree with that only in that the whole point of putting the doors on a track is to try and recoup or salvage the existing historic fabric. And to me, I'd rather see that than having it rebuilt. Because if it's rebuilt, then you can tell that it's new wood.
yeah, but
Whereas,
all the siding, I mean, there's tons of parts of this building that have had lots of the siding has been replaced with new wood. It's all going to be painted. You're not going to be able to like, I mean, they're going to look newly
I
painted,
know,
but
we did, I will add this just as a note on that. We actually went to a lot of expense not to replace the siding on like 80+% of
oh no,
the.
no, no. I completely I remember I
Yeah.
every day would walk by it while you were doing all those repairs and remarked at the fact that you were keeping most of it. But what I'm saying is lots of new wood was spliced in there. And a lot of filling and sanding went on everywhere else on that building where the original wood was preserved. So when that is all done and it's professionally, sanded and painted, you're not remarking, oh, that's new siding, oh, that's old. So I just think that in this case, new doors made out of wood that look like the originals are preferable to this really significant and busy otherwise intervention with aluminum, glazing.
Well, okay. Lauren, your 2 cents?
I can't believe we didn't talk about this in the beginning.
I mean, we did. I think we like their goal was using the we talked about it in the context of like the
But not
existing
that-
doors are in really bad shape.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the question really is that the existing doors would not make the space weather tight. And so
Right.
the question, I mean, one way or another set of doors would need to be behind the existing. So the question then becomes, what do we do with those doors?
Maybe they can be hung and used on the interior of the building as rolling doors someplace.
Or like at the back. Or
Ah.
something. Yeah, it could be cool to even just have them as a piece in the wall or something. But
Well, I mean,
interior wall.
I mean, so if Todd, is part of what you're saying that like the doors offset to the west or right add noise to the facade.
Yes.
Noise is a euphemistic phrase. And just removing them helps.
Well, but recreating the doors as they were here. So just take like you making a copy basically of the
Okay.
historic doors.
Yeah.
And in the exact same place that they are now. So you don't have the historic fabric anymore, but you have a recreation of those.
Okay,
doors.
okay. I didn't catch that. Got it.
And you won't have anything metal at all. It'll just be wood doors. And then they fit the opening. Then you don't have any side
I think-
lights.
Probably one of the things I would put forward is the physicality of opening doors that large and heavy. But maybe that can be overcome.
well, okay. So in other words, what we're talking about is reusing or reusing the configuration, but
Yes.
in new doors in lieu of the doors that we're talking about making it weather tight.
Basically recreating the historic doors, matching the historic doors.
Okay, but I mean, what we're talking about is that going to become the weather door?
Yes. That is the one and only door in my imagination. There's nothing else there.
What's your thought on that, Brian?
I think there's a couple things to put out there from a usability perspective. I do think the weight of that large of a wood door and that width and dimension, it is a very large door. One of the things Ken and Angie, when they watched and we sort of went, because we sort of talked about this idea of these historic doors, and one of the things they were concerned about, they said, they just have a lot of people that come in that are not strong, that, they're like the physicalness of moving it is an issue. I think the other part is bringing light into the space. It's not the brightest space on the inside, and they want there to be visibility from the inside to the outside, to sort of sense and see the activity on the inside to entice people in. And so I think those are some of the reasons that I would put forward for that, are not historic, but are in terms of the utility of the space, utility of the entryway, for the goals of the tenant. I think, if you've gotten up close with the doors, they're not, I don't know that it really would have to be new doors. I don't think that they will withstand being weather tight doors
Right.
in a refurbished kind of way. Like I think it would have, I don't think that's a viable thing.
I think what they're talking about is taking the configuration of the existing doors and building new wooden doors that match that configuration and that are weather tight doors.
If I threw out like a riff on that,
Okay.
what if it was, I guess it'd be 6/6. I don't know if that's quite the right phrasing, but it was essentially like more full glazing which reduces the weight. It sort of addresses both of the issues from the tenant's usability perspective.
Like 12 light doors.
12 light doors.
Yeah, I'm not against that. I think I would need to see how that looks in the elevation drawings, but I'm not necessarily against that.
I, it doesn't appeal to me because it basically, if you go 12 over 12, then you're really not capturing the configuration of the doors as they are now.
Wait, 12 over 12? No.
12 light doors, just 12 lights, no over.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying just
Well,
adding one more.
There won't be a sill or a separation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I agree, Al.
I agree too. I think it needs to look like a barn door. And as soon as you have all that glazing, it changes the character of the door. If there's truly a light issue, I think that's like a skylight. I don't think that the door can necessarily solve it.
Or what about the concept that Todd raised before, instead of an aluminum door, a steel door?
So we did a lot of investigating on steel door options. And one of the core challenges is the dimensions and needing them to be configured as they need to be for this opening. He is custom, which both does the price as you spoke to, Todd, and drives that up a lot. But it's really the 5 to 6 month lead time that we couldn't find someone who would do a custom delivery short of that. There's a whole commentary on manufacturing in America and us needing more of it, but I won't go down that route.
All right. Aside from the material of the door, and what's the thought as far as the single door as opposed to the double door?
I don't like either configured as aluminum doors with the rolling barn doors.
All right, Kim.
I prefer the double doors to the single door, but it just feels very heavy and weighted inside of the building, because realistically, these doors are going to be open most of the time.
Yeah.
Closed. And it just feels very weighty over there.
What's the width of each light of the double door? Yeah,
These. I didn't answer that.
because the single door would be a 3-foot door, right?
They'll be
Uh,
two,
8 inches.
The single is called out as being 3'6", so 42.
42. And then the double doors are, hang on.
3 foot.
It's three, yeah.
Wait, you said glazing or,
Well,
because the glazing would be
no, I'm
two
talking about the door itself.
of the door itself.
So that's 3.5, it's 7.
I think the door is 3. So this from
Yeah, that's
here,
right.
yeah.
The double doors are 3, and
Yeah.
3 and 3.
the single doors
3.
3'6".
And these are what?
I think I can riddle you that. Well, they add up to this dimension.
So they're about
This,
3
this
That's
dimension, right?
1 foot.
So the whole opening is 8 feet wide, so
Yeah.
they're 4
So I
feet.
think they're 4.
Kate, thoughts?
I feel like we're spiraling a little, so I don't know where we've left off. I mean, I think I like Todd's idea of the rebuilt doors to match the existing, getting away from any aluminum. I like the idea of steel doors. I appreciate the timeline issue. I think that if there is a version of aluminum where, like you said, the 3.5 drops down to 2 and something, I'd be open to looking at it. I still think there are way too many vertical members in both of these options. And I do think the double door is like I said earlier, more consistent with what you'd experience with the barn door. So that's what I want. But obviously that would then entail more um, material and visual clutter. So I don't know where that leaves us. We had at one time talked about just frameless fixed IGUs, where the door would sort of be framed and supported at the top and bottom. Someone mentioned that that was possible and that would eliminate some of this. Yeah, I don't know if that's helpful.
It was the original idea of doing one fixed historic door and one that opened with having like a simple metal door behind it.
Right. I mean, there is that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked
That
about
might be better.
Well, you said that, what is the custom aspect that presents the timeline as far as steel door?
It being outswing with side lights. Like if so, I'm gonna answer that, but sort of ask a question as well.
Okay.
Are we open to the idea of the width? We might leave the opening, right? So it's 8 feet wide. I think it's just slightly under 8 feet, if I recall correctly. But we'll call it 8 feet wide, but frame in slightly inside of it, getting custom side lights that fit to this exact non-standard dimension. That's part of that, plus the outswing aspect of it. I've like found some that worked, but they only had in-swing, but fire code requires it gotta be the outswing. We talked to like it wasn't quite 20, but it was like more than 10, but probably more than 15 different suppliers manufacturers, really trying to chase it down.
So the issue is the side light, not the door.
That would correct. And so this goes a little bit to a question I was gonna ask is like, what if the opening remains the opening, but what comes into the door frame is framing, not side light? Because I sort of heard, I think Kate, it was you commenting on the amount of vertical members, and that would reduce the sort of like the vertical banding.
A thicker frame, is that kind of what you're saying? Like more solid frame. No.
Not more metal, but wood framing inside the opening. So it's sort of like bring the wall in. Whether or not you bring the siding in,
I mean, if we were going to do that, I think then it's even easier to just rebuild the existing style in wood and have slightly smaller wood doors that look like the originals and maybe are 6 inches smaller and therefore lighter and easier to operate.
With lights on the side.
With just, I mean, if you're kind of saying like shrink the opening by increasing the amount of trim for something like that, and there is kind of big bulky trim on that front door all the way on the other side of the building. Like that's pretty wide plank trim around that door. So, doing that or something, I still think the answer is then new wood doors that look like the originals in style. It's kind of a twofold thing.
I mean, but the issue there is that the existing doors have only top half of it is glass.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, at the end of the day here, nobody could buy or rent this space with the assumption that we need this to be lighter and we're only going to do this if we can get through big glass doors, because there's no guarantee, by this board or anyone that would be the case. So I kind of think that's a non-issue personally. I understand that they would like it to be brighter in there, but that is not something that we need to consider at all. And as this stands, I would not I wouldn't be able to approve this with the sliding doors. I just think it's visually way too cluttering. And steel is out of the question. Price, lead time, we're back to aluminum. I do not think aluminum is suitable for this. I do not like the sliding doors. I think the only answer here to move this forward is to do new wood doors the same style as the existing doors. Whether they are able to shrink a little bit, that makes it somehow easier to operate. I think that's another conversation that we can have, but in my opinion, that's the way forward.
I agree. I think if the aluminum is just hard. And I think that was sort of hard for us in the beginning as well. And if this was like a different system here, that maybe this could work too, but it's not.
Well, the one suggestion that I would have, because your concern as far as rebuilding wood doors to match the existing is how heavy they are, right?
Well, but Todd was just saying, if that's really the issue and the doors need to shrink 6 inches on either side to make it, and they're gonna be better because they're gonna have new hinges and all of those things.
Well,
Then that's okay, and you could bump out the trim a little bit.
no, I mean, what I would suggest is maybe pivot hinges.
Or-
And bring the pivots further in so that in fact the edge of the door becomes sort of the side light. You
When
know,
it's open.
yeah, in
Yeah,
other words,
Yeah, I'm following.
instead of this, if you had the pivot here and, basically when this swung open, it would be like that.
Yeah.
And the existing doors then become decorative on the inside somewhere.
I don't know that I can promise that.
Could maybe save the basement or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, is that a viable option? Doing a wood door, which becomes the weather door.
I think. So a couple things I'll point out.
Okay.
So, because this gets into answering that, I don't know if you've gotten up close with those doors, but there's it is a plywood base. But I guess the question I'm asking is, we want these to be built nicer than the ones that are the historic ones.
Yeah.
Like, hang on,
Properly.
I'm pulling up the photo.
Yeah, because
These are the doors.
Yeah.
So there's no really good way to open that. They're sort of in heart shape.
In a
They
hard
also
way.
don't have the exit.
they've got plywood. So what's been on them for a long time is plywood on top of this.
On top of the X.
Right. And so that's what's there historic. If they're not operating, then we can remove that and reveal. Or I can leave the plywood there for the historic character. It's not original. It's a weathering, sealing up after effect, right? And so if the ask is yeah, I mean
Because the doors are plus or minus 4 foot. So the question really becomes, if we use a pivot hinge and the openable portion of it is 3 foot, then you don't have to build out the
side light.
the side light,
Yeah.
and it just becomes the door, and that should make it easier to open.
Are you talking about new wood doors now still, or are we? Yes. Okay. Just with a different hinge style and a different swing, a slightly different swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
would the board allow me some leniency on precise, like, light sizing, spacing, if I'm in the approximate, 6 over, I don't know what the phrasing is here, but a 6 light door in 3/3 styling.
I don't have any problem with that. I mean,
Like matching that, starting to try and match an exact thing that's not.
agreed. I mean, in historic preservation, if you have one option, you try to make it as respectful of what was there as you can. But to try to duplicate it, at times it's discouraged because then, it's a phony, replica of what was there. So the question then becomes, which way do we lean? And so I'm willing to allow some latitude as far as the door configuration. If we get something that looks like the door, but is not.
Yeah, I think like within a couple inches for the glass is fine. I don't think like adding 12 or 16 inches of glass, but keeping it six lights, that's a bigger ask. I think that would take more consideration. But as far as this meeting goes now, where I am, like the answer to that would generally be yes, within a couple inches, I think is fine. That's me.
Just wrote a note, I don't know who's taking it, but just recreate the historic configuration and match the dimensions and profiles as closely as possible.
That's sort of what I was.
Maybe do it to this, but I think we do really need, I mean, it would be great to see this though, like when you're actually, if you have someone making them.
Yeah.
And the details. And the details of the rooms and whatever hardware you're gonna be using, like whatever poles or not. And I think the X is, if that really is plywood and this is what's below it, you should do that.
So do the detail that's below the plywood, even though the plywood's been there for 30, 40 years.
The plywood was just like
It wasn't recent. It's got a.
yes.
I'm fine either with whichever way your answer is. I'm just giving you the.
Well,
Have you
can't just,
We like-
what's under?
We peel on the inside. You can peel back a little bit, and it looks like it's this. That's why we do it.
But it could be this.
It could be a
that
different detail on the inside.
And not have that.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
right.
think the point is to, once you remove the plywood, whatever sort of detailing and
Yeah,
profile is
carry
there
that
is.
forward. Yeah, okay.
okay, are we pretty much in agreement on that?
I think so.
Kate? Kate, yes, no?
Yeah, I think, yeah, yep.
Kinley?
Yeah, I was struggling with it. Didn't feel right.
Okay, so we're in agreement that basically we're gonna try and recreate in wood the weather-tight door. And if possible, if you could, keep some of that historic fabric as ornament somewhere, we would
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I can keep them. I can't force the tenant to put them up inside, but I can keep them.
When landmarks in New York City makes you keep things, basically.
Yeah.
You gotta wrap it up and you gotta make sure it's there. So I would request something like that if they don't want to display it
Yeah.
as art.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Yeah.
an example of a cat, simple cat.
Would you be game? Is that? I'm happy to match that.
Okay,
To
so
wrap this, yeah.
I don't think that we can vote on this today, even though we tried. But I think that we've got, we're certainly a lot closer. And I think that if you come back with the other information that we need on our regular meeting, which is in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think that we can vote on that.
Is it? So in this pathway that has me building custom doors,
Mhm.
uh, how do we feel about a vote? And I hear everything you said, a vote that if I can achieve that, that's that's approved. Because then I can, if I can go get it started and approved, if it's approved, I can go get that started, assuming I can get that done. I think I can. I mean, there are people out there who build doors.
Well, okay, herein lies the problem, is that with the guardrail, that wouldn't have been a problem. With the doors, that is a problem because there are so many different permutations and combinations. And I think that question is whether or not how does the board feel about giving a conditional approval at this particular point um, for everything but the doors?
We didn't talk about the sign yet, though, if anybody has
Oh.
any opinions about the sign.
Is this whole area considered Angie's property? I was trying to find the guidelines of what percentage you have.
The sign is not part of this application.
It is,
It is.
the sign is part of the application.
It is.
It's a square footage per linear
Really?
feet along Main
Mhm.
Street.
Since, well, we don't even we
Well,
don't have details on the sign. All we have is this one image of the elevation that shows the sign on it. Do we have anything else?
Says new painted wood sign lettering.
I have other examples in town as examples, like the cheese store is one.
So they'd be dimensional wood letters
Mhm.
that are painted black
Mhm.
or.
I think it's a light color, but yeah.
And how far will they, how far will it stick out?
I think that this needs to be redrawn with the doors the way that we are planning to.
we understand that, and ultimately, yes, he'll do that. I guess the question is that, you know, aside from the doors, do we have a clear understanding of what we're going to get? And I think, well, yeah, I mean, you know, we're talking about the cap of a post.
Oh, with the railings and what they look like and maybe this area.
I think it would be helpful to have more info. So for the sign, I like the idea that it's wood. I think the cheese shop is a helpful reference. That's on a flat wood backing where this is on siding. And so understanding how the two elements come together will be helpful. What the hardware is, like, is it off the wall or is it inset? And then I know the percentage ratios that we usually deal with. And I understand Angie's is taking up like 3/4 or more of this ground um, floor, but the door and the signage to me read as the sort of right shed portion of the building. And so the sign looks really large for that area, like it's taking over. I don't think I would want it, you know, to be that much smaller, but I think it would be nice if it was proportionately a bit smaller. It just feels aggressive as um, shown here.
I agree with Kate, and I think that shrinking that a little bit, because right now the kerning and spacing of the lettering, it reads as off center because of that big swoop in the A to the left on the left side of that A. It makes the rest of the word feel off in terms of spacing, and I think shrinking that down and having it centered over the door would help. The way that it is now, it feels a bit off to me. But again, I think seeing this, you know, drawn correctly with the doors that are going to be installed would be helpful, and shrinking it would be helpful.
Just a follow-up question. So it is centered over the doors now.
So that's what kerning is the spacing of lettering, and it's what if even if it is centered, it looks
It
off.
feels
That's what
okay.
kerning is in lettering, and that's it. So it's about kind of making it feel and look centered, even if it's a little off. And right now it may be centered, but it looks off.
If they want to maintain that a large A, if there is a line under the rest of the word, in other words, if there's something like this,
Yeah,
would that work?
I think that would help. And maybe shrinking the rest of the letters a little bit would also help. But I agree with Kate. I do think that it feels quite large.
So we took
Well,
it down
that and also, what is the sign made of?
wood, painted wood.
Painted wood. Is it a wood board or each individual letters wood?
Each individual letter is wood, and I've got some of the reference images of it. Like Tashtego has the same sort of they sit out on pins. Kate, this is sort of your point. Like the letters sit out on small thin pins coming out of the siding.
Yeah, that could be lovely.
And then each individual letter is its own piece of wood
Okay.
thing.
So, I think there are just too many issues to be addressed.
Okay.
And basically, it's 2 weeks, right? The 17th.
I will not be able to physically be here. I will be.
Who are we gonna beat up on? I mean,
I know you've had so much fun with that lately. I will be on that day. I will be in both Florida and California.
well, then you can meet up with Todd and you know,
But I can still do Zoom. But I just won't. You can't
Okay.
throw things at me so easily. You'll just damage the screen. Can I recount? I want to go back through and make sure we sort of got the things.
Yeah.
What I mean.
Can you, sorry, before you do that, for the
Yeah.
list, there's a prior approval for windows and electrical outlets and lighting, and that was prior to us having the design in hand. And so I know you currently have two outlets like really close to the front door. There's some stuff going on there, and I'd like to see those in the drawings. And I do think that at least one outlet next to the man door needs to go away.
Next to the which door? Just say that again.
I said the man door, but the
Oh.
original door on the left. It will be on the ramp, sort of in the egress passage.
Okay, show outlets.
Thank you.
You want to fix this?
I do, but I also want to sort of like just go through and make sure that we captured everything. So, railing details. So that's both caps. Were there other questions about
The door.
Door hardware?
Do you have the decking material called out?
We do. It may not be on. Some things have been dropped between all the different versions and all the like notations, so it may not be on these notations.
It says here, new wood railing painted white, new wood fascia painted white.
Yeah, but it may no longer name the decking.
But it's what, right?
It is wood.
Trex 1x6. Transcend lineage decking.
Correct. Composite?
Composite.
Yeah.
So it's not what,
It is wood. That was the plan, not trans.
so that should have said.
Okay. So on the sign, shrinking. So right now the dimensions are 2 foot 4.5 tall for the total from the bottom of the A to the top of the letters. And I mean, it needs to shrink proportionally, but you're sort of saying like if it shrinks down and it's probably like something like 7 feet by 2 feet. That's
Yeah.
approximately the right kind of like dimensions.
I think a little inset from the full width of the door.
Yeah, or even aligning with the outside of the.
Yeah, which is sort of, so if it's at about 7 feet, that versus 8, like that starts to do that.
Yeah, so then it would.
Is that it's not,
Might be their logo. though.
it is
Like,
their
I don't
logo.
think
It
it's-
is their specified logo, so if we're okay to skip the line. Um, uh,
Well, okay, now what do you mean by skipping the line?
You
I,
said maybe
I
an
know,
idea
but
is to
I
do
mean,
that.
does that mean that the letter shrinks to match those?
No, this is their
It
logo.
stays,
This
it
is
stays
their-
the same.
This is what's on all their packaging and
Mhm.
everything.
Okay,
So it feels like shouldn't mess with their logo. We can tell them to make the whole thing smaller.
you mean to tell me we can't direct people how to,
There's no art directing for for that type of design.
okay. Great, cap detail, the fascia board on the front of the brick, where we settled was a one-dimension board the whole way across that marries in with the, that.
marries
that.
into the deck and on the porch?
So you'll have a 14 inch height eating up with an 8-inch height.
Oh,
Because
no,
No, we decided on that clunkier detail, I think.
Oh, yeah, actually we did.
Yeah.
Because the building,
okay.
for the things that are wonky.
Funkier. If the ramp concept works, if not, it's the lower. So if the ramp doesn't work for other code reasons, it's the lower platform with steps.
Mhm.
Which,
Well,
It's 2 over 2.
I really have a problem with that because, you're going to great efforts in order to make this handicap accessible, and then you put in, two risers.
Well, but I think that could probably be figured out by the next time you come.
Yeah.
Because it's in 2 weeks, you can look at the code
Okay,
and really
yeah.
find out.
all right. Well, it just that, you're making a lot of, changes in order to be able to provide handicap accessibility to this,
Yeah, that's the
facility, and, and then throw it away right here.
or achieve it with a clunky piece of equipment.
Yes, well, I mean, where's that piece of equipment stored? You're talking about a 20-foot,
I think it sits there. I think it stays there.
it stays there.
Yeah.
But then that's a ramp on top of another ramp. What is the 2 risers do?
What do they do?
In other words,
It's not a ramp. This wouldn't be a ramp in that version.
Right.
That's like a patio.
I know, but we're talking about from here.
Mhm.
So, where is the piece of equipment that would cover the 2 steps? Is it here? Is it here?
No, it's tucked against the building. Something like, maybe not that far, maybe.
Well, it would be that far because you're
Yes,
talking
it's
about 20,
But this is 24 and it's about 10, so it's.
right. Well, it would be 20 because you said it was 10 inches up. So,
So every time they need
It's
to
10
get
feet long.
flour, they would have to reach
Mhm.
that to open
Yeah.
the billboard.
right. Right, but you're correct. It's 10 foot, so, it would be something that goes like this.
Mhm.
And someone in a wheelchair would then have to come through
Mhm.
here and then go around like that.
Or like that.
But I hear your
Unless
point, like, let's make the ramp work, and we make the ramp work, I think is the big thrust, which I'm all for. We like the bricks, we like the piers, we like like all the sort of underfooting pieces worked. On the doors, one thing we talked about in the prior version was if I could take the actual historic, I don't know if this is feasible. But I'm going to explore two options on the actual doors, because I think we've pushed away from the sliding door
Right.
concept,
So we saved just a whole bunch of money right there.
the sliding door concept. I think we may lose it in the building the doors, but that's not what I do want to help achieve the goal. I'm all for it. So in that, if one option is total brand new build doors, right? And thus I appreciate your note here, sort of like get as close as you can and whatever. The other is that these historic doors sit inside a custom welded frame that is a box, like imagine a C-channel frame that sits around these doors. They are roughly 4 foot wide by, 7 or 8 feet tall. Imagine there's like a picture frame that's sitting around it that is welded steel. And then that is,
Currently,
there isn't one now. No, I'm saying if I have one built that is essentially C-channel, so it is, use my laptop here as a door. So it is cupping the door all the way around, but only extrudes in an inch or two into the door plane. And then that new frame is the thing that gives an old door that can't otherwise withstand structural stuff, the structural integrity to handle the opening and close. And it gives the clean edge for a frame to sit against for weather season. If I can achieve that, I do not know that I can. Is it worth me trying to chase that down?
well, I guess the question is that, if you're building a wood door to match the existing as much as possible, why do we need the steel frame?
I'm hearing
No,
you
he
like,
was saying if he can salvage these
Yeah.
historic doors, and the way he would salvage them is to create basically a steel frame around them that would kind of
an
wedge them in.
exoskeleton.
That would
Okay.
keep them in, and then they can.
I don't know if I can do that, but if I could, do we like that?
Well, okay, because I just have to wonder how viable that can be. In other words, if the existing doors are in so poor shape that, we were contemplating this, what makes you think that you can fix them up enough to make them weather tight in a steel frame?
Part of it is the weather tightness, not of the like weather tightness here or here, but at the edges, because they're all beat up around all the edges. And essentially the structural integrity, because they are heavy, like when you move and swing them now, it doesn't feel like it's like holding itself together really well. Like you couldn't do it a lot all day long back and forth, and it won't hold up to that unless you give it some other structure that is the thing that's giving it structure.
Okay.
That's my thought process.
I'll give you my thoughts.
Mhm.
I think that if you can reuse the existing fabric, all the better. I'm not holding my breath on that.
And it really does depend on like how far down you would need to go, right?
How
With
far
a steel
down?
frame, like how much,
Oh, how-
like
meaning,
how, yeah, like how,
this.
exactly, yeah.
And is there like 2 inches,
Two, I mean,
3 inches?
I think you
The
should draw
thickness
it,
I
you should
get.
draw it like, cause then in the, cause then you're cutting in here, but maybe you have to cut in there. I don't know what is actually possible. but it shouldn't be too much.
Well, but, I mean, what it could be is that if let's say it's an angle, then you could probably do it on the inside and it wouldn't be that visible. In other words, if,
Most of it sits on the inside and
Yeah.
only some of a lip sits on the outside. I
Right.
gotcha.
if the outside, and, what you could then do with that is that, the concept of the pivot hinge
Works off the metal frame.
frame a lot better. So,
Seems like there's appetite if I can try to keep,
It may require like a very adventurous carpenter. For a very experienced of historic fabric.
well, and the other thing is that you can do that to the door, but then you're also probably going to have to do that to the frame.
Yes, so what that would be is a steel frame. So it is a wood door with a steel frame touching another steel frame.
Right.
It could start to
Make-
get really clunky really fast. Like with all of those layers.
Well, and not necessarily. I mean, realistically,
I mean, I
if you
think
have
that-
a steel frame door butting up against a wood stop, that stuff is not going to last very long.
I think it would be helpful if you want to explore that route. I mean, if you want to do like option A, option B again, where one is recreating the doors and matching the existing frame and all of those things, or if salvaging the doors. But you we really need to have all of those little dimensions, I think, in order to make a decision.
Well, the thing is, for example, typical, yeah, oh, this is his or yours.
I'm not.
You can draw on any of it.
Okay, well,
It's all
I
fine.
mean, the typical stop for or a metal door is that you have the frame itself, and then the stop is a C channel that is screwed in
Mhm.
into the frame. So that's a little bit cleaner, and then you have the
Regasketing. So,
and obviously you're going to need to put in some sort of flashing, not flashing, yeah, flashing.
So I think if in that version, like what Alice, like this is the kind of detail you would need with dimensions, so that we would understand exactly how it's gonna look.
Okay. So where did everybody go? We haven't adjourned the meeting yet.
Kate, go to bed. I think Todd is.
I'm here.
Okay.
mhm.
All right. So in 2 weeks, we'll see you via Zoom.
Yep. Let's see. So,
Okay.
and is there anything else I don't need to update the COA application other
No,
than
no.
the drawing?
We have the referral, we have the application itself. And so just the drawings, and the drawings should be updated as much as possible.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll issue, I mean, one of the things that we have decided to do is issue a notice for any action that we have done. And so we'll issue a notice saying that we're a couple of steps closer, but not yet, not there yet, so, but pretty close.
Very close.
As
Thank
a
you.
Side note,
Mhm.
are you still the owner's rep for 37? I mean, I'm sorry, not the Nobody's Deli.
Yeah,
Okay. Because we just were wondering what's going on with the painted brick.
we bought all the stuff.
Okay.
And there so it requires a temperature, so we
Yeah.
bought the stuff that was more expensive, but it like doesn't damage the brick as much, but it
Mhm.
requires a temperature range to be basically pretty warm, like
Okay,
above
like
60
okay.
degrees. And we just kept waiting for a warm fall day, and there was not a good warm fall day.
So as soon as it's above 60 degrees for at least 3
Yep.
days, well,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit subject to schedules, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
What did you end up getting for the removal?
I can, it's a weird thing. You put it on and then you lay a paper over it, and the paper has a reaction with the
Mhm.
paint itself, and then the paint like peels off.
Peel
Peel away,
off,
okay, yeah.
Okay. Great.
So yeah, I did some research. I learned a lot about it. It has mostly all fallen out of my brain. Other
Totally fine.
than
I just wanted to, before we,
Yeah. yeah, no.
talk with somebody,
Yep.
Great.
So we got all the supplies. We're just then,
Waiting for the weather.
yeah, waiting for the weather. I said it to Abigail as I came in here. I was going to get in my car. I was like, "Oh, it's only 25 degrees. I don't know if I even need a coat. It's like so balmy today." Thank you. I think I'm trying.
Sure, this is like how it
yeah.
goes. This is how this process is.
Right, it's the best approach, thrash it through and then agree on something so that we're all, this is for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Well, I may take all of. Do you want the
No,
others?
it's okay.
Yeah. I just sort of assumed you. What do you want to keep yours? No. Do you want 6 copies of everything each time? Or can I do 6 of this and
Maybe one.
full of these and full of this?
And then PDF.
Then 2 of these and the
Yeah,
PDF?
I think that's.
What do you guys do with all of the full stuff?
Typically, we just try to fold them and file them.
And I'm happy to do that.
Great.
2 and
3? Okay, great. You got it. Okay. Any commentary on the detail you'd prefer if the doors I find are not this whole dimension? Like, is it bring the siding in? Todd mentioned using this kind of wide board trim to trim this.
I think that try to keep it as respectful of what is there. In other words,
Yeah, it's a very thin trim there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right,
And
So
so,
if you're making custom doors though. This is very large, but I think that's sort of, that was the building, that was the machine shop.
well, it looked
well,
like.
this trim is
looked
like
they-
much more modern. It's not original.
Oh, overhead was yeah,
That opening.
but that's no longer there. Okay. So yes,
So stick with something more thin, so it won't match this, which I'm fine with, but match historic.
Yeah, that's like the other trim as far as possible.
Okay, cool.
okay,
Coolio.
It's gonna be really lovely. You know, it's a hard process to go through, but it really is gonna be great.
The
They also can like paint the doors at color to draw people in, you're not gonna worry about the through it.
I mean,
Color at the top and.
a question for you all, and again, we're like technically off or whatever, but like these windows, I didn't end up ordering it because I went back and was trying to figure out if they were 4/2 or 2/2. So we settled that. Is having that be a larger picture window an option?
Man.
I would keep it the same.
You want a permanent 2 weeks.
I would keep it the same.
Cool,
All right.
cool.
Have a great trip being into
I'll be in
sides of the country and
on the Sunday. Yeah, I will start in New York the day before and where's that? Leave. So 7:30 is 4:30. Yeah, that should be. I think the only challenge is there's a chance I'm on a plane then at this time. If that's when I'm on a plane, is there an option for like a different daytime without?
We have to do it at night, I think, just for everybody's schedule.
Schedule?
Why don't you just email the group when you know your
Yeah, and then we
flight,
can
because you
figure
could
out.
also join and be the last, at the end of the end of the agenda or something as well, right? If that makes a difference, an hour or something.
Yeah. And if I can move the flight or if like there's something that viable that works, I'll shift the flight.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
So Todd, did you see the picture?
Did I what?
Did you see the picture on set?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. Yeah. I sent it back. I screenshot it and sent it back to everybody and then put it on the Google Drive in the folder as well. I think that makes it extremely clear that those are not the windows that were there a year and a half ago.
Well, I guess the question is that can we put it up on the screen?
I can't.
I have it. I don't need to see it. I know it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just so that we're all looking at the same thing. No, I'm talking about the one that I took.
I know, I don't have that, and I can't get online, right? I compare.
I'll text it to you, Lauren.
Okay. Alto. And then I'm looking at the picture you took, which shows the full window.
Abby, can you put the picture that I took up on the screen?
Here,
Everybody.
thank you.
Yeah, good night. Have a good trip.
So this is the picture you took.
Yeah.
This is the picture Todd took. And those are definitely different windows.
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead, share your screen.
Do you see the two pictures?
Yes, yeah, we have them here too. So that's the picture you took on the right, which was the small windows in the top. And that's the picture on the left. That
That
is
just-
clearly a different window.
Yes. This feels like an open and shut case to me. There's no way in the world we would ever have approved what he installed there. Like no way in the world.
Well, all right. The other thing is that let's be clear as far as do you have the other one, the one to the right that I took? The reason I'm asking is because these are at different angles. And so while the one on the left looks longer, the question really is that, is it because of the viewing angle, or is it?
No, it looks
Oh,
completely different from the street.
Okay, this is a totally different window. This, like, look where
The
this stop is,
Yeah.
which is here, right? And that's here, and then this window starts like all the way up here, and then there's a meeting rail here. There's no meeting rail here.
Well, there's no meeting rail, but we don't know what that black is. Is that a screen?
It doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't,
it's
that's
not
not, there's
wood and
like a
it's
whole
not
new
window.
frame in here. That's like an
Well,
entirely new
agree.
frame.
I agree, there's a whole new frame, but, again, if we're talking about making comparisons, if this is the rail or the meeting rail for this small window, and that's here, then certainly the relationship of this to that is not too far from this to this. And the question really is that, what is that? I agree that this entire enclosure is not, something new, but we don't know, we can't tell what what this is. Is this a screen?
We can.
Well, if it's a screen or if it's glass, it doesn't really, it's kind of besides the point. If it's a screen, then it's covering a big piece of glass. I just kind of don't really understand why this is an issue. We know what's there. We know what was there. They didn't do it with permission. I can, for one, I think speak for the board. We would never have approved this if it was actually put in an application to us. So why are we even having a conversation as if this isn't any other issue than issue the violation and ask the building inspector to remedy it? We don't
Okay.
give this kind of leeway to anyone else on Main Street, let alone anywhere else in the village. So why are we, I just like, we wouldn't approve it. It's a tiny window. You go from large vertical panes of glass, 1/1 double hung window, to these are horizontally oriented panes of glass because they've shrunk the opening so much. It's just like, that's what it is. Like, there's nothing else to say.
Well, I agree. If the only thing that was added is this frame over here, is that something that we want to get into a fight about?
They added framework to the left and the right side, and they shrunk the opening vertically as well.
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
you
talking
lost,
about.
yeah.
Take a look at the coursing as far as the siding goes. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and I can't tell, but 4 rows of siding. And what I'm saying is that we're looking at it at different angles, and so maybe, the issue is not really the fact that this was covered up, but it was framed out, which is clearly this entire enclosure here is not shown here.
right, because it was at.
What I'm saying is that this width is this viewed at a different angle.
I can't see exactly
So
what was
even
being
if that's
pointed
the
at, so
case,
I don't
even
know.
if they, even
Well-
if it's the same width and they change the,
I mean, the issue is that I think that if we are going to challenge him as far as what he did, we should be clear on what the difference is, and we can't just sort of offhandedly say, oh, you put in windows. I'm not sure that he did that. I think that he certainly, there's no question concerning the frame. The question really is whether or not the window was something that he added, or was it there already?
I mean, even if you look at the upper windows, then as I zoom out, you can see the horizontal split between the top sash and the lower sash. So you don't see that here because it's not there.
Right. Well, yeah, and why is it not there? I mean, is it?
It's not there because that window wasn't there. That's why. This is a vinyl replacement window, right?
No, it isn't. It's aluminum. It's aluminum replacement window. I mean, I looked at it close up at that photograph, and it's clearly an aluminum window.
Okay. I mean, I don't, yeah, I don't know. If the rest of the board doesn't want to pursue anything with it, then I'm obviously the
I'm
minority.
not saying that we're not going to pursue it. I'm just going to say we should be confident in what we're telling him.
I
And
guess all I can
just-
say is look at the photos and they're very much not the same.
Well, so
That's
are
it.
you wondering how to word a renotice, if that's what you're like, so you could.
And what are we trying to accomplish? And what do we want him to do?
Put it back the way that it was.
Put a stop to what?
Put
He's
it
saying
back
put it back
the
the way that it
that
was.
it was.
Without the small double hung window.
All right. So in other words, what we want him to do is take that window trim and the window out and put in back one sash.
That
Is that
would
what
be,
we're saying?
yes, that is an option. That looks like that's what was over there. I mean, I can't tell from that other photo though, if that was actually a double hung window that they just put a piece of plywood in front of. So maybe that's what it is, but
Or it's a single light casement sash. I mean, at the end of the day, it's applying to do it the right way is what it
yeah,
comes down to.
and
And
it's
then
also,
working through the process.
then it's something that should read this as an upper light of a double hung window and not a new small double hung window.
Okay. So what is it that we want him to do? To put back the single sash?
Well, I don't think that we can direct him. I think what we're asking him to do is come back. Right? We're
Well,
not asking
he's
him to come at all.
Right.
He didn't come at all. So, and I think then he can say his needs and we can say, these are our concerns, and then we can come to some sort of compromise. But I don't think we can ask him in a notice what we would normally vote on. Like, we can't just have this discussion now about you need to put back a single pane window, right? We can't do that.
Right. But I mean, what we were talking about is putting back what was there. What was there? I mean, we don't know that. And so I think that what we need to do is, you've answered my question as far as how we're going to frame this. What we're going to need to do is say that what we can tell is that there was a change. What was there before? And, do we want to get rid of this? The small double hung window.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because that is the thing that was installed without any kind of review or approval. And how that gets remedied after that is what should be discussed and voted on before the board. And I think, I mean, I understand, like, I don't want to be chasing violations either. I don't want to be like looking around and being the preservation police. I don't want to do that either, but I do, when there are like big changes to visible windows that you can see from the street.
Right. Well, and
Main Street,
that is my question. My question is really, do we want to, is this something that we want to pursue? And what I'm hearing from you is that, yes, it is.
Well, I mean, when I'm sorry to go back, but and we've been talking about this for months. And I think the general consensus each time that we have spoken about it by email and in this room has been that, yes, we want them to fix that. Which is why it keeps getting brought up.
But the thing is that what it was Todd came back and he said, here, I got this photograph. And as a result of this photograph, it's clear that he lied to us. And that's the approach that we were taking. And so when I looked at the photographs, I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell that there was a significant change. And the question I now have is that I can see, because I got up close to it, I can see what it is now. And certainly from the photograph, it looks like it is a change. But the question is that do we want to pursue it? That I'm not sure of, because I don't know if it's something that is that significant, that what it's going to change to is it going to make any difference? So, man, God, I gotta get the gloves. All right. So the question is that what we want him to do is come back to us so that we can discuss these windows. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yes, I think that Kate has said that in the past. I've said in the past. Todd has said that in the past. Kimberly, I don't know.
I wasn't.
I mean, we've also been like, this has been on the monthly report to the village board that I asked everybody to review. Like, this is not a new thing.
Okay.
At all.
Well, all right.
There have been many opportunities to say whether or not we wanted to pursue it, and like, it's hard to have this conversation.
Okay. Well, on the notice that we sent him in September, so the tenant says the smaller windows were installed before their tenancy, and he just replaced the plywood and trim because it was rotted. The board agreed that if new wood is painted to match the rest of the siding, the windows are acceptable.
I know that's what was written, and then almost immediately after that, this is how it went. Kate sent the Google Street View and said, but that doesn't seem like it's true, because look at this. And then Todd went through his old photos and found the photo. So like, very quickly.
Can we just vote on whether we go forward with this?
Yeah,
I can't keep having this conversation in
Yeah,
circles.
this is like
And I
really-
also need to leave. So can we, if we're gonna do it, let's vote on it. Otherwise, like we'll pick it back up at the next meeting. Sorry, I lost my cool before and I apologize for that, but I cannot keep talking about this. It has been like 6 months of every few weeks, we're talking about the same thing over and over and over. So it's clear that there's a difference. Let's move forward or let's not. If we're voting tonight on whether to move forward, let's do that right now, please.
Okay, because the things that we had asked him to do, he's done. Easterly fence, tenant will investigate if consorts reclaim boards that match the existing in order to cover the metal posts and brackets so they are no longer visible. And he's done that. The faux greenery will be removed, and he's done that. He's reclaimed wood plank. So I guess my question is that I don't have any problem with going back and saying, because according to what he said before, he replaced the plywood and trim because it was rotted, and we said it was okay. So now what we're saying, it's not okay?
Well, Lauren just addressed this, Al, like 2 minutes ago. She just addressed it. He said this stuff to us in a meeting. After the meeting, Kate went to Google Street View, took some screenshots. I went back and looked at my photos. He caught us in the meeting and we all were like, oh, okay. We're believing him at face value because that's what he's saying to us. We went back, we did our own research, we found contrary evidence, we presented it to the board. This is going back 6 months. That's what happened. So yes, our letter said that thing because we took him at face value and then we went back and did our homework.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, what has he changed?
He changed the windows and lied to us about it and said that he only replaced the trim. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And we have photographic evidence that shows that those windows weren't the double hung aluminum windows that are installed, that they were.
The smaller double hung windows are something that was added.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will send him a notice updating this. Do I have a motion to, do we have anything else to discuss at this time?
No,
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Are we keeping these here? We can, I mean, we can keep these at the village hall, right? And we just bring them out like every time. Okay, fine.
I'm sorry, were you, did you motion and can both second?
Have I heard anything from the depot?
I sent them an email, I'm sorry, that's,